The Las Vegas Raiders lost again, this time to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and their season is shaping up to be one of the worst in the past 15 years. With a disappointing 2-11 record, the team looks lost, and the quarterback situation isn't offering much hope. This week, the Raiders pinned their hopes on Aidan O'Connell, who had shown flashes of brilliance against the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, he couldn't repeat that success against the Buccaneers. Watching O'Connell play, it's clear he's not the long-term answer for the Raiders. While he had some promising moments last week, this game was a different story. In the preview, we discussed how the Chiefs' heavy blitzing gave O'Connell opportunities to shine, but the Buccaneers, though known for their aggressive defense, blitzed less this time, and the Raiders couldn't adjust. It's becoming obvious the Raiders need to find a new quarterback. Before diving into the analysis, let's talk about the unfortunate injury O'Connell suffered. The hit he took from Kija White was completely unnecessary. After taking a few steps, White still struck O'Connell from behind. As he tried to brace himself, O'Connell's knee buckled, leading to what looked like a serious injury. He had to be carted off the field in an air cast, and it's likely an ACL issue. We wish Aidan O'Connell a speedy recovery. Even if the Raiders look for another quarterback, O'Connell could still have a role as a reliable backup in the future. Analyzing his performance, it's clear that when teams blitz less, O'Connell struggles to go through his reads and progressions. The defense was able to lock down the Raiders' options, forcing O'Connell into tough situations. He took a few sacks and absorbed several hits, showing he still has a lot to learn. The Raiders' struggles continued as the ball sailed out of bounds on several plays, highlighting the team's quarterback limitations. It's becoming clearer that the Raiders need to prioritize finding a new quarterback. There's been a lot of talk about the upcoming quarterback class. Some say players like Shedeur Sanders or Quinn Ewers aren't first-round material, while others debate the potential of Drew Aller, especially after his impressive performance against Oregon recently. Regardless of who's available, the Raiders must invest in a quarterback who can elevate the team. Watching Baker Mayfield play for the Buccaneers showed just how valuable solid quarterback play can be. Mayfield consistently executed plays, showing poise and creativity. It's something the Raiders desperately lack right now. Garrett McQuiston showed some promise, but even he struggles to play effectively within the system. To succeed, a quarterback needs two key skills: the ability to play within the structure of the offense and the ability to create when plays break down. The Raiders don't have someone who can do both. One quarterback can scramble, but struggles to stick to the plan, while the other can stay within the system, but falters when forced to improvise. This inconsistency leaves the team stuck. Looking back at the game, another player worth mentioning is Caden McCormick. He stood out and answered all the doubts surrounding him. McCormick showed enough potential to be part of the Raiders' long-term plans. That said, the team still needs to draft another running back. Successful teams rely on multiple backs to keep their offense dynamic. Take the Buccaneers as an example. Despite their top running back, Ricky Irving, being out due to injury, they still managed to find production. Third-stringer Sean Tucker ran for 47 yards against the Raiders, showing the depth that good teams rely on. The Buccaneers showed the value of depth at running back. Despite Ricky Irving being sidelined with a hip injury, they leaned on Rachaad White, who ran for 90 yards against the Raiders. This highlights where the Raiders need to improve. They must build a more versatile backfield, and Sincere McCormick could be part of that solution. McCormick showed promise with 15 carries for 78 yards. However, one solid back isn't enough. The Raiders should consider drafting another running back, possibly in the second round. Second-round picks can make an immediate impact, and this year's class is packed with talent. Players like Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson, who were highly rated last year, would rank even lower in this year's deep pool. The Raiders must capitalize on this opportunity to strengthen their roster. The offensive line also deserves recognition. They held up well in both the run game and pass protection, arguably outperforming the Buccaneers' line. Surprisingly, Baker Mayfield was sacked 4 times, which is a testament to the Raiders' defense. The defense, led by Max Crosby and Kelvin Chaisson, continues to be a bright spot. Chaisson even snagged an interception, and Crosby, as always, made his presence felt. The secondary is also performing at a high level. While players like Jack Jones occasionally get burned, the scheme overall has been elite, confusing quarterbacks and creating opportunities. It's worth noting that although Mayfield threw for 295 yards, a significant chunk came from just a handful of big plays. The Raiders' defense often took risks trying to generate pressure or get off the field on third down. While this sometimes backfired, it's clear the unit is improving. Looking at the season so far, it's evident that the Raiders' defense has been their strongest asset. If they can pair this with a consistent quarterback and a deeper running game, the team could start moving in the right direction. The Raiders' defense continues to shine, clearly outpacing the offense. What stands out the most is how invested the players are, even with the team sitting at 2-11. Take Adam Butler, for example. He's still giving his all, play after play. Max Crosby remains a relentless force, and even Jack Jones, despite giving up a touchdown, made 2 standout plays, an interception and a pass breakup, though the latter was flagged for pass interference. These players are proving they're fully bought into the team's effort. For the Raiders, this kind of commitment is crucial moving forward. The foundation is there. Now they just need to secure a quarterback to complete the puzzle. Another bright spot in this game was Michael Mayer. In just his 3rd game back, the second-year tight end had 7 catches for 68 yards, a strong performance. For the first time, he was a primary target and looked comfortable out there. With weapons like Mayer, Jacoby Myers, Sincere McCormick, and even Brock Bowers, the Raiders are building an offensive core. However, they still lack 2 critical pieces, a true number 1 wide receiver and a top-tier running back. This offseason presents an opportunity to address these gaps. The Raiders could invest in a proven wide receiver like T. Higgins or even bring back Amari Cooper. Spending $15, $30 million on a player of that caliber would give their new quarterback an immediate weapon. After that, they can focus on drafting a quarterback and running back in the first 2 rounds. Adding these pieces would transform the offense. They could even use a 3rd-round pick on a physical, tone-setting guard to solidify the offensive line. With the right moves, the Raiders could build a roster capable of competing. It's worth noting that despite their struggles, the Raiders were only a touchdown behind the Buccaneers late in the 4th quarter, and that was with their 3rd-string quarterback. Imagine what this team could do with the right quarterback and a revamped offense. The potential is there. Now it's up to the organization to make it happen. The Raiders' biggest challenge this season has been the lack of a solid quarterback. Imagine the impact of a reliable player who could consistently put points on the board. Scoring just 13 points isn't going to win games in the NFL, but with a quarterback capable of delivering 30-plus points in a game, everything could change. This season has been a tough one, not just for the players, but also for those covering the team. In my 5 years of following the Raiders, this has been the most frustrating season. Still, as hard as it's been, there's hope for a brighter future. Right now, the Raiders hold the number 1 overall pick in the draft. It's not set in stone yet, as the Giants and Raiders both have tough schedules, and strength of schedule can shift week to week. But if things go the Raiders' way, they'll have the first choice of any quarterback in the draft. That could be the turning point this team needs. Looking ahead, a new quarterback could elevate this team dramatically. The defense has been performing well and will only get better. Combine that with the right offensive leader, and the Raiders could transform into a much stronger contender. There are still 4 games left in the season, so while it's been a frustrating ride, there's more football to play. As we move closer to the offseason, the focus will shift to the draft and how the Raiders can build a competitive roster for next year. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the Raiders. We'll keep covering the team right through to the end of the season. Thanks for sticking with us, and I'll see you in the next video.